The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Friday, the 21st day of January 2022. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Linders. I'm Jamal Hartman. Sherry is out today, folks. She left me hanging, but Leanna Lambert will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. I should have just bought on anyway. Hope everyone's doing this fine Friday morning. Hope you're all doing well. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. Another good one today. We may have Mr. Dean Fogo. If not, we have a lot to discuss. So we will be talking about a lot of things of interest for you. Also, don't forget the giveaway. Here's how it will work. You will have to tune in every day to hear what letter is being given at a different time each day. Use each letter to determine the words that make up the phrase. Once you believe you've guessed correctly, you go to our website, thedailyhour.com, and you fill out the contact us form with your name, email, and answer where it says message. Please note you must be a subscriber on our website to be eligible to win the $500 prize. Before we get into today's show, just want to honestly say thank you to so many people. I put a Facebook post last night that I had 200 texts, about 200 texts and over 200 WhatsApp messages, people flooding with just words of comfort, love, and strength. And I think I speak on behalf of my family, my sister especially, and myself, and I say thank you because, simple words mean so much in times of grief, and you all have come through big time. I appreciate it. And, I'm telling you, we didn't expect as many people that came out to my mom's service, but we're definitely grateful. I'm just going to put it to you like this. She didn't invite you all, but I'm sure she had appreciated you all. All right. Look, we have a question for today. And so for those of you who follow the news, you know that someone was recently charged with pretty much threatening the premier. So according to the Royal Gazette, the title is "Man Arrested After Threats Made to Premier." Police searched a home in Hamilton Parish after social media threats were made to the premier of Bermuda, David Burt. A man was arrested, the article says, after menacing comments were made during a live interview involving Mr. Burt. Now, folks, you know me, I try not to pay attention to the comments, people going back and forth when these press conferences and things are going on, because we can easily lose focus. But persons should be mindful, the spokeswoman said, that threats, offensive, and other menacing acts towards anyone, right? Anyone on social media may be contrary to the Electronic Communications Act 2011. Person committing such acts, if found guilty, may be in prison for 1 year or fined $25,000 or both. So here's the question of the day, folks. Because I think we need to, as a community, we need to realize something very fast, real quickly. And we speak about this often on this show. There are consequences for our actions. And regardless of how you feel about anyone, you cannot just say what you want to or about them on social media. So your question is, what are your thoughts on someone being charged for online threats against the premier? Because there was a certain former senator And OBA candidate, a young man who deleted his tweet now, and I didn't screenshot it to quote exactly what he said, but pretty much he made a comparison, almost saying that this is dictatorship type leadership for someone to be charged for threats against the premier. Well, to that former senator, and I believe he's still a member of the One Bermuda Alliance, I think you got it all wrong on this one. Because as I just stated, remove the premier from that situation and put yourself or anyone else there. No, let's go back a bit. There was a gentleman, I stand corrected, but there was a gentleman when Michael Dunkley was premier of Bermuda, right, for the One Bermuda Alliance, who was also charged with making online threats. He was also charged for the same kind of thing, and I believe that gentleman lost his job. Folks, we have a responsibility. And part of that responsibility of being good citizens and good people is not making any kind of threats, online or not. So anyone that's defending or against the idea that this person should be punished, I question I question your morals, because I don't like David Burt as premier of Bermuda. I don't like David Burt, the politician. I don't agree with 90% of the things that David Burt does. But what I won't do, and what none of us should do, is threaten the well-being of the premier or any other person for that matter, and think that there are not going to be consequences to face. We've got to do better. Let's go to the audience. Again, question of the morning. What are your thoughts on someone being charged for online threats against the premier? Good morning, Jamaica. Good morning, Karen Simmons, and good morning, Nachika Trot. Karen Simmons says, a threat is a threat, online, face-to-face, in my opinion, so consequences. Sam Cat Place says, some people are talking about freedom of speech. I was on the conference, and he had made several threats of life, and it was unnecessary. He could have expressed his disdain without threats of life. Let's go back to that first part. Some people are talking about freedom of speech. Even the country, the United States of America, that champions freedom of speech, freedom of speech does not mean freedom without consequences. The country, the United States of America, that champions freedom of movement, freedom of this, freedom of that, freedom. I ask you this question. Is the U.S. as free as they make you believe they are? I bet many of you will say probably not. The argument they would say is, comparatively speaking, we are. So what we have to realize is freedom is not without consequence. And as Karen Simmons said, you can't just go around willy-nilly making threats against people. We've got to do better. And for anyone to be defending this tells me the moral barometer must be so low that we're stepping on it daily. Carlton Fleming says he doesn't understand that freedom of speech does not cover threats and slander. Yeah. For those of you just tuning in, we are discussing the gentleman, a 34-year-old man, was detained after menacing comments were made during a live interview involving Premier David Burt. And the spokeswoman said, quote, persons should be mindful that threats, offensive, and other menacing acts towards anyone on social media may be contrary to the Electronics Communications Act 2011. Folks, we've got to do better. Shika Reyna says, at the very least, a cease and desist should be issued. So, Shika, my question to you is, so no charges against the gentleman, just a cease and desist letter? Because I didn't see it, but according to folks like Sam Cat Place, this person was online, and it was, as she put it, made several threats of life, and it was unnecessary. That I was watching a bit of it, but I did not see it. The bottom line is, folks, we should not be making threats, period. We shouldn't. David Michael R. Wilson says, you may be free, in brackets, to do whatever. But when your freedom comes, the reactions of others who are also free, in brackets, to do whatever. Nachika Trot saying what was said. Nachika, obviously the police are not going to share that information. That information will likely be shared in court if it actually goes to court, or if there's a case that actually happens. When I say case, the person may plead guilty and it just move on. But I don't think it's necessary to hear what was said recently if the majority of the people found it threatening. You know, I mean, I can make assumptions. I think we can draw conclusions, but it's fair to say that even people who dislike the way that David Burke governs had an issue with what this gentleman, I believe, gentleman had said. Sam Cat Play says, how a cease and desist, I guess she's asking, how would a cease and desist order work? He knew what he was doing. He made clear threats of life. If given the chance, he probably would follow through. Folks don't think of that. And Nachika, I guess that's an answer to your question. What was said? The person made clear threats of life. James Birch, he says, this also sounds like a mental health issue on the part of the person making the threats, maybe. Can consequences also involve regular therapy? Thank you, James. This is important because I would like to think that normally, as angry as we may get at politicians, it's not normal for us to just make death threats on a regular basis. It's probably not normalized behavior. So my thought also was maybe the person has some sort of situation where they maybe need assistance, they maybe need help, maybe they're not of sound mental state. So that is something to consider. It's definitely something to consider. But I want us to, like, folks, we all, let's be honest. The majority of us here this morning probably have an issue with the way the government's run, have an issue with the premier. But how many of us use our frustration to make threats? That's the point here. That's the point. We don't have to make threats. What we can say, now, some people may find what I say threatening when I say, look, don't wait till politicians come on your doorstep when an election's coming around. Go to theirs. That's not a threat. I'm telling you to go knock on their door and tell them about your concerns. Don't go on social media. Go to them, because I tell you what, when they want your vote, they're not going on social media. They're coming knocking on your door. Ain't that right? So that's not a threat. At least I don't see it as one. It's encouraging people to react in the manner that politicians come to them and have expectations of them when it comes to an election. Question of the morning, once again, folks, is regarding the gentleman who was arrested for threats against the premier. What are your thoughts on someone being charged for online threats against the premier? Do you think it's a form of dictatorship, as a former One Bermuda Alliance candidate and former senator said? Or do you believe that people need to know boundaries, and at the end of the day, there are consequences for our actions? Nachiko Trot says, I think it is a learning moment for folks. So what was said should have been shared. Nachika, I disagree. If this gentleman, as Sam Cat Place is saying, if this person said some graphic stuff, then no, it shouldn't be shared. The exact words don't need to be shared. Let me give you an example. I guarantee you, all 100 something of you tuned in right now to this show believe that slavery was wrong. Chattel slavery in particular, right? I guarantee you, every last one of us would say we don't need to experience it to know that it was wrong. So no, we don't need to know exactly what was said to know that it's wrong. Sometimes we don't need all the details to know that threatening someone is wrong when it comes to their life, especially. What we do know is the person threatened the person's life. We do know that. Michelle White says people need to realize that social media is a privilege, just like driving on the road. Actions risk consequences. Threats of personal harm is crossing the line. Court action fits the crime, and the process will reveal if there is a mental health issue to be addressed. Sam Cat Place says, if I can teach my children to think before they speak, this grown man could have easily not been on the conference and not wrote what he did, unless, of course, he's dealing with some mental health challenges. Sam Cat Place says he was a keyboard warrior and thought he wouldn't get caught. He was wrong. Sean Smith says, personal speak in having someone threaten me, personally speaking, I believe, in having someone threaten me and that individual was arrested and put in front of the courts, threats come with consequences. Sheikha Reyna says, clarification, if he's not officially charged and taken to court, at a minimum, a cease and desist letter should be issued so he doesn't do it again. Makes sense. And I get your point, Sheikha. Basically, going back, because I think someone had a question about it, cease and desist would mean, look, the charges will drop, but this is a lesson. There are consequences. You can't just say what and do what you want with people. You can't just do that. We're not going to allow it. If it happens again, this is what's going to happen. But almost like you're on, is it probation or parole? Whichever one. I'm not, I don't do this kind of things to be on probation or parole. So I won't know, folks. I won't know. Well, I'm not going to say that. But I'm had my days. But I understand it, right? We should not, in this instance, if you're given a break, you better use that to learn from the mistake that you made and how lucky you were. How lucky you were. But that leads me to another question, Shikarina. Do you, audience, yes or no, audience, yes or no, do you believe that people should be charged, or do you believe there should be a warning? Do you believe that threats, regardless of the threat, whether it's threatening to harm the person or their property, right? Do you believe that someone should be given a warning before a straight charge, like by the police or being arrested? Like maybe the police can go to their home and give them a warning. What are your thoughts? Let us know. Do you believe that someone should be warned first, or do you think they should be charged? Do you think someone should be warned, or do you think someone should be charged when making threatening statements or comments online or in person to anyone, let alone politicians and leaders in our community? David Michael R. Wilson says, warning first, charge later. Karen Simmons says, yes, I believe she's saying warning. Bermuda Girls thinks differently. She says, charge, most definitely, charge first. I'll share my opinion and I'll get back to the audience. I would, if I ask the question like I did, answer the question like I asked it, I would want to say warning. I would want to say warning. However, I would live with guilt. I would live with a tremendous amount of guilt if someone made these threats and followed through with them, and I was championing a warning. So I'm conflicted. I would want to say warning, but at the same time, I believe Sam Cat Play said it earlier, folks. A warning, it gives that person the opportunity to go and pretty much act out what they're speaking of. I don't think any of us want that on our conscience. Again, do you think a person should be charged or be given a warning? Sam Cat Play says, why take the chance? There you go. Why take the chance with a warning? On mixed field. We're right here, Sam. Like we're at the same place. Trust me. Carlton Fleming says charged. Karen Simmons says yes, charged. Nachika Trot says warning first and education. Key component, education. And folks, let's be honest. Some of us only know what we know. Even this morning, some of us may be learning that there was an actual, and I probably should have pulled it up for us, Electronic Communications Act 2011. How many of us know what that says, right? So Education, Nachika. You're absolutely right. Warning first and education, followed by a charge later. However, it depends on the circumstances. Shika Reyna says, I think there should be an immediate reaction to a threat, i.e., restraining order or 24-hour hold, etc., depending on the threat level. And Bermuda Girl says, attempt murder is a charge. So attempt to do anything should be a charge. Well, when you put it like that, Bermuda Girl, it's hard to argue, right? It really is. It really is. Karen Simmons says, young people warning as they are still developing. Education is a process, but adults charge them. Okay. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Coming from an educator. J Dog says, all threats should be charged, then downgraded to a warning if it's deemed not severe. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Well, I think we're finding a balance, folks. We're finding a balance. I think we're finding a balance. One thing I'm realizing with that question is it's not a one size fits all. It's not a one size fits all. Different situations are gonna require different responses, right? My hope is that people know that this happened. My hope is that because there was just something yesterday, and I didn't see it till last night as we were honoring and celebrating my queen, my mother, yesterday. But there was something yesterday that happened, and we're gonna get into that after the news break. But you don't want to miss this. Something happened on Bermuda Twitter yesterday that all of you need to be made aware of. All right, do not go anywhere because after Liana's news break, we're gonna have a conversation. All right. Let me bring Lee in, see if she's ready for the news break. Good morning, Lee. How are you, good sister? We cannot hear you, girl. You've got your mute on, sister. You've got your mute on.
There we go. You can hear me now?
Oh, loud and clear.
Good morning. Good morning. And obviously, condolences to you and your family yesterday. I hope it was a warm homegoing ceremony for your queen yesterday.
Yeah, thank you, Lee. As I stated earlier, I'm not sure how she would have probably been happy with the turnout. I didn't invite all those people, but yeah, a lot of botanical gardens. We had to use the bleachers, but she had a great homegoing service, and I'm happy that I believe that she would have been happy with the love that was shared with her. And like I said, folks, on my personal Facebook, I have 200 texts, over 200 WhatsApps that I'm trying to get through and respond. I don't even think I was able to respond to yours, Lee. I'm sorry.
No, and it's all good. I
I,
understand it was a busy day for you, but just
yeah,
the amount of people that showed up, that shows the impact that she
indeed.
had on a lot of lives here on the island. So, that's always a great thing.
Indeed. Lee, I gotta ask you. You've probably had that in your news this week. Obviously, we've only had this as our second show, but the online threats. I think us being in a space like this, we can be threatened at any point, right? But
Exactly.
how do you feel? Do you think people should be getting a warning or a charge for online threats?
Well, I feel like it's a case by case basis.
Hmm.
Obviously, I do not condone anyone threatening anyone's life. I feel
Hmm.
like that is always a step too far, no matter how severe, no matter how derogatory, other comments were made. No one should ever threaten anyone's life. But
Hmm.
I do agree with some of our audience comments in the
Hmm.
fact that there should be warnings involved now,
Hmm.
but it's a case by case basis,
Hmm.
depending on how far those comments were made and whether, action police believe would have been taken
Hmm.
by that person who made those comments. So,
Hmm.
it's a sticky situation. However, no one should be threatening anyone's life. Doesn't matter how
Hmm.
much they disagree or dislike,
Hmm.
whatever's going on with the person that's, they're directing that energy towards.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. After your news break, we're probably going to have a very heated. We're not going to have. We're going to reschedule Mr. Dean Fogo due to quality. We were not able to get the quality straight before the show, so I did send him an email. Shanta will reschedule having him on. So we just want to make sure that going forward. We have the right quality for the audience. There's no point moving forward with a show when the quality is not at the level that the audience deserves. So we will be rescheduling Mr. Dean Fogo. But that said, we'll be discussing, again, something I saw last night, as James Birch says, Skingate. And honestly, audience, you're going to want to know about this conversation, what happened on Bermuda Twitter yesterday, because you all, I believe, can help young entrepreneurs, not because you're entrepreneurs, but because you're all consumers. We're all consumers. And what I witnessed yesterday on Bermuda Twitter, right, from the young lady who made the original post, was not being derogatory. She was not being rude. She was literally looking for advice. And I say this, if it's one thing I learned from all the plaudits that my mom was given at her service as an entrepreneur and a hustler, she remained so quiet and humble. And we understand that not everyone is the same. But you should never, ever, ever, especially in a small community, look down on the people who make your business work. And we're going to get into that after Leanna's news break. You do not want to miss this conversation. You want to be a part of it. Lee, we're going to give them some letters today as well. So we're going to give you some letters after the news break as well. We'll give you 2 letters today, one immediately following Leanna's news, and then after the later on after the Daily Focus. All right, but don't go anywhere. Lee, over to you, sis.
Let's do it. Thanks, Jamal, and TGIF to everyone that's tuned in with us this morning. I hope you all are having a great start to your morning. I'm Leanna Lambert, and it's time for the Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Well, in today's top stories, a 26-year-old man was rushed to hospital last night after he was shot several times at a residence in Paget. Now, emergency services were called to the incident, which took place at a house in Thriftholm Gardens in Paget, just off South Shore Road near the Elbow Beach Hotel, just before 8 p.m. The severity of the victim's injuries are unknown at this time. However, he was undergoing surgery last evening after receiving multiple gunshot wounds. Now, according to police, a number of spent shells were recovered, as well as live ammunition at the scene. They are interested in talking to 2 men who are said to be on a white motorbike seen heading west after the shooting. The rider was dressed in all black clothing, while the pillion passenger wore a tan-colored jacket. Authorities are appealing for any witnesses or anyone who were traveling along South Shore Road in Paget just before 8 p.m. who might have seen a white bike and 2 men on that bike riding at high speeds. In other news, health officials last night confirmed that sadly 2 more people have lost their lives to the coronavirus, bringing the total of COVID-related deaths since the start of the pandemic to 112. Now, 622 new cases were reported among 8,187 test results carried out between last Friday and Tuesday. However, the number of active infections dropped for the first time in the present outbreak, with a total of 1,886 cases on island. Now, there are 14 patients in hospital, with 2 of them in the intensive care. Minister of Health Kim Wilson has extended her condolences to the family and friends and the loved ones of the deceased. And motorists heading west or east on Harbor Road can breathe easier as roadworks have finally come to an end after months of disruptions to road users. Acting Public Works Minister Wayne Furbick confirmed yesterday that completion of the project, which was over schedule and over budget, was a milestone for the government. He admitted that the government should in future act first and build later after work was held up because of a dispute with a resident. Now, he did not say how much was over budget and the job had run, but he did say there may be some cost overruns. However, he insisted that the overruns would not be significant. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high near 73 and a low near 65 degrees. We'll see a sunny start to this morning, heading with a light southerly breeze. High pressure to our distant northeast extends a broad ridge over the region. This maintains the dry and fair weather pattern into much of today. However, by tonight and into the weekend, another front looms to our west with wet and windy conditions expected to move into our area. That's all for our daily hour news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. But before we go, here's a little helpful tip from your favorite community pharmacist. It's the weekend. Try the following healthy options. 1, be active with friends and family. 2, snack wisely. 3, balance meals with protein. 4, watch your portion sizes. And 5, limit your dessert and liquid calories with water as your beverage of choice. Your weight management doesn't have to be boom or bust. Small changes, healthier choices, and you will see a difference with time. Now let's head back to Jamal in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
Thanks so much for that, Lee. Lee, did you know, and condolences to the families of the loved ones, to those we lost, 2 new COVID cases as you
Yes,
reported.
definitely.
Did you know today is National Hogging Day, January 21st?
Is it really?
Yeah, and I don't like hugging. I don't like,
Oh, goodness. You're one of those, don't touch me, stay away.
I'm sorry. I just, I
But I'm
didn't.
sure you received a lot of hugs yesterday. I mean,
I did, and you know what? People were thinking about it because it's still COVID, and so
yeah,
people were like,
definitely.
can I hug you? But it's interesting. National Hugging Day first celebrated in 1986, and founded by Kevin Zaberny. He thought the idea for the holiday after noticing how in between Christmas time, New Year's, and Valentine's, people tend to be in low spirits despite how positive the holiday is. Well,
Oh, wow.
I'm guessing low spirits because you're spending so much money on gifts to people and stuff. But no, interesting.
Well, unlike Jamal, I'm a hugger. I like to hug. I feel like, human interaction of that magnitude sometimes is definitely warranted. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. I honestly, I will tell anyone. We all react differently. We all love differently. But I say, if someone's willing to hug you, if that's the way of expressing, it's the most harmful, easiest way to show gratitude.
Harmless, not harmful.
Thank you. This is why you're here, to fix me. This is why you're here. Harmless. Yes, harmless. Move. See, harmless way to show gratitude. So even people like me. So I'm gonna go with James Birch and Karen Simmons. E-hugs and virtual hugs.
And virtual hugs. Yes,
Yeah.
Karen, virtual hugs too.
I'll give you all some of that. So Lee, thank you so much for today. Let's give them a letter. First letter today is going to be L for Leanna.
Oh,
look at that.
You're just trying to make my day today, aren't you?
L for Lee. That's your first letter for today, and we'll give you the second letter later. We're going to talk about, as James Birch deemed it, he said Skingate. We're going to deem it Skingate. Yeah, they're not letting me down. Hugs are harmful. Well, that's how I felt previously, but they're harmless, folks. They're harmless. I had my other mind on still thinking.
I see that. It's okay. It's all right. We understand you're not a hugger, but you know what? It's okay sometimes.
Yeah. Lee, you want part of this Skingate conversation, or are you going? You don't want none of this, right?
I don't think I want any part of this, but you know what? I'm going to watch in the background and just see how far we go with it.
All right, sis. Have yourself a great weekend, Leanna.
You too. See you later.
All right, no problem. Once again, folks, Sherry is out today. She said, look, we only work one day this week. I don't want to see you a second time. This is a vacation. No, she had a prior commitment. So Sherry is out. She'll be back on Monday. But we are going to be discussing Skingate. And that's, as James Birch called it, Skingate. Something happened on Bermuda Twitter yesterday. Like I said, he was celebrating and honoring my mother. So I did not have the opportunity to see it as it was happening. But last evening, as preparing for the Daily Hour, I came across it, and I have some very strong opinions on what I saw. And one of the persons involved has been on this show, and I hope that either she's tuned in or somebody can carry on what is about to be said. Don't go anywhere. Stick with us.
Are you a small business or organization looking for new ways to reach a greater audience? Well, here's your chance to get your ad on BTG Radio, Good Day Bermuda, and Bermuda's daily talk show, The Daily Hour. Send an email to contact@bermudacommunications.com.
We're featuring a true frequent flyer this month, Bragg Live Food Products. Paul Bragg was the man behind the products, and during his lifetime originated health food stores and promoted nutrition education throughout the media, helping us make healthful choices when we shop for and prepare food. Best known for his live cider vinegar, Bragg also brings us a variety of super nutritious and flavorful foods and condiments. Try the star product that helped launch the entire enterprise, Bragg Raw Unfiltered Apple Cider Vinegar. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandytown Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
All right, welcome back to the big show. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Once again, we were scheduled to have Teacher of the Year Dean Fogo on. We'll be bringing him back. We're going to reschedule to have him on because we just weren't able to get the quality check done before the show. So we'll definitely do that. But we're going to have a conversation today for the Daily Focus about something that I came across yesterday. Again, Sherry will be back with us next week. For those of you who tune in just for Sherry, I know, you don't want to just see me, but it's okay. I love you still. And I just want to also say, honestly, man, thank you to so many people who have reached out to myself, my sister, and my entire family regarding my mother. Your words, I can't thank you enough. It's really, we haven't had to deal with death often. And, you don't really understand things until you're in that position. And the love that you all have sent, like the encouragement, and the list goes on. And trust me, like I do when you wish me happy birthday individually, I will be reaching out to everyone individually because you took the time to show love to us in our time of grief. It's definitely a process, grief. It's a process, trust me. But I am really, really happy and at peace that my mother's no longer in pain and that she could leave this earth knowing that her children, while hurting and will miss her, are contributing to a community that she loved. So thank you all for the kind words, the encouragement. I'll keep thanking you and showing you love because you've taken the time to do it for us. On to the conversation. And I'm just going to go and read some things I came across on Twitter. And let me just put it out there. I do know the individual who made the first tweet. I have a lot of respect for her. But this has nothing to do with me knowing her, liking her, because I know the other individual, the business owner as well. It's respect there. She's been a guest on the show. But a tweet was made and it said, almost certain that using scrubs and black soap has completely dried my face out and caused breakouts. Innocent post. Innocent post. People responded to the post, giving assistance, saying, these are some solutions. This is what I use. No, me, Jamel Hartman, when I was living in Boston, black soap, literally what I was using, I used it for my face as well, gave me a breakout. I'm a guy. I'm ignorant. I didn't know that I could get breakouts. I thought black soap was the best thing since sliced bread. I had rash all over my face. I had to stop using it because apparently I have oily skin. I don't know this stuff. I'm not educated on it. I accept my ignorance. This young lady went on to say she stopped using it, but was interchanging it between scrubs, and it done her in. She went on to say, she didn't call the name of a company. She just responded to someone stating, folks, I was using D&B's Holy Grail and they butter. I got a regular face wash now. We'll see how it goes. Let me just say this. Now, everything I just read to you, folks, nothing in that was critical. Nothing in that was rude, disrespectful. She didn't drag the business. Nothing. Literally from her entire first post, all she did was say that she's having trouble with what she was using. That's it. She said she was having trouble with what she was using and was looking for people. Well, I don't even think she really asked for people's opinions. People just start giving her, like good Bermudian Twitter does, giving her suggestions. But here's where it gets ugly, folks. Wait for it. Here's where it gets ugly. I guess on Twitter, people screenshot things and send them to people. She went on to thank people. She said, I want to thank everyone that commented on this tweet with recommendations. I only tweeted about it to vent my frustrations, but I'm honestly happy I did, and I hope it helps someone else. Well, folks, she got a screenshot, a message from the person who fronts and who we've had on a guest from the business. And this is what really annoyed me. Again, I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My mother did her thing. My uncles all do their thing. My father, probably my entire life, has always asked me, remember when I worked for Sabre? No, Daddy, you've worked for yourself all your life. I know you. But this is what bothered me from an entrepreneur's perspective. And this is where you, the audience, need to help us, entrepreneurs and young people especially. You need to teach us, even me, about humility and being humble. This young lady, from what was shared a picture of herself with the words, quote, me when people talk about my business on Twitter. Thanks for helping pay my mortgage, end quote. Let me stop it right there. Let me just be very clear. This is the Daily Hour. Daily Hour has partnerships with One Communications, Medical House, Lindos, People's Pharmacy, Boroughs Lightborn, Bermuda Academic Development Corporation, and we have more on the way. But none of these partnerships would be possible without every last person who supports this show. This is not about Jamal Hartman and paying a mortgage, or Leanna or sharing and making money, or this is not even about us having opinions. This is about you having a space to have conversations that are going to make our community better. So when you get online or say things to people who have been supporting your business, oh, thanks for paying my mortgage, you could talk all the crap you want. That's no way to act, young people. That's no way to be. This is not how we should be as a community. Let me go to the audience because I know a lot of you have comments, but I am going to tell you, there was nothing malicious, as Shawnette Bell saying, about that tweet that it was originally made, and she hasn't given me permission to say her name. But there was nothing malicious about that tweet, the original tweet. She was a young person, literally doing what we probably all should be using social media for feedback, using social media to get an opinion. I saw nothing threatening about it. I saw nothing rude or disrespectful. Come on. Terry K says, I've been trying to purchase from that business, and this is the second time I've been deterred. Let me be clear. I'm not perfect. There are people who tune into this show that may think I'm rude or disrespectful on certain days, but that's not my intent. I understand that what we do for a living, I can say good morning in the wrong way and it would offend someone. But never would I lack the humility to say, Oh, you all don't have to like me. People Thomas is going to pay me anyway. Oh, Linda's going to pay. Come on, man. We've got to do better. We've got to do better. Nicole Walker says, after receiving a screenshot of the tweet, DMB reached out to the poster and clarified that the soap and scrub were not DMB. So DMB had no reason to take it to the public, let alone call the police. Oh, we didn't even get to that part yet. Because I don't understand why the police got involved. What was, okay, unless, because let's be clear, folks, people type stuff and delete stuff on social media all the time. Unless something was deleted that I didn't see, I saw nothing threatening. And I want, this is my hope with having this conversation. I'm going to tell you, it's not to drag on what happened on Twitter. It's not to gossip about it and joke or get high numbers. I'm telling you why we're having this conversation today. Because I want to see that business succeed. And I want to see the young lady who reached out get the assistance she's looking for her face. But I want Bermudians, especially young Bermudian entrepreneurs, to see it as a learning opportunity. You know, the whole thing we spoke about earlier about consequences? The gentleman who was arrested for making threats to the premier? Well, this is what I mean. I don't want to see her suffer the consequences because of how she responds to people on social media. I want her to learn from these. Sherry pulls me on the carpet, my partners, even some of the sponsors pull me on. Jamal, you said this or that. I have to go back and reflect. I remember one time my mom said, well, who put glass in your Cheerios this morning? Her way of saying, son, turn it down. We speak on the show often about having mentors, folks. Mentorship is extremely important. And I tell you this here. If you are a young entrepreneur, believe me when I tell you, you need to surround yourself with mentors. Let's go back to the comments. What are your thoughts on what I've shared? Terry K says, as much as I want to support local businesses, carrying on like that will always keep me from spending my black dollars there. See, there you go, consequences. Bermuda Girl says, I'm lost, not on Twitter. So Bermuda Girl, basically what happened was someone, as I stated, I read the actual tweet, someone on Twitter innocently just said that she's having trouble with some stuff that she's using for her face, right? And it wasn't malicious. She then explained it was a certain product from a certain brand company. And then obviously people immediately took shots. The front person for that brand sent a message that was shared saying, I love when people talk about me on Twitter, helping pay my mortgage. Yes, that's pretty much the long and short of it. Shawnette Bell says, I felt it was unnecessary because the tweet had nothing, nor did it allude to the fact that she was bashing the business. Shayna Smith says, agreed, Terry, I'll use what I have, then I'm done. This isn't the first time she's behaved poorly on Twitter either. R. Furbit 7 says, I'm here to say I meant nothing malicious from my post. I was using a black bar soap and had a Garnier scrub from a pharmacy. I can't make this up, but I'm glad you were talking about it. So this is the young lady who made the original post. She said, I'm here to say. So again, I don't, let me just say this. She's telling you herself live on the show. If you read the tweet as I read earlier, it did not seem malicious. It did not seem like she was bashing the business. It literally just seemed like she was explaining she had an issue and she wanted to get it resolved. And initially, people were responding to her, trying to help her. Folks, that's the good of social media. That's the good of social media. When you go to social media looking for assistance, looking for people to, what do you use? Anyone else have oily skin? What can you recommend? That's the good of it. There was no reason for the bad part of it to follow. None whatsoever. None. Levon Brown says, I feel like it's my fault because that response was to me. You know what? You're laughing, but I'm going to tell you this, honestly. No, don't take responsibility for someone's immaturity, and that's what I'm going to call it. because there are a lot of things that have been said about my behavior on this show. I don't argue with people on social media about what I say or do on this show. I don't take that bait. So no, even if it was you, and I know you're probably joking, but no, we have to take responsibility for our own actions. Someone goes, writes a whole post about me. I mean, let's be honest. People might write and may not have my name. I'm not here to assume. I don't care. If you want to, you and I can have that conversation together. If you have the courage, you can come to me and we can have that conversation. But I'm not going to assume or make a post about somebody. Folks, I'm about my business. I'm about my business. And one thing we have to learn to do, especially in small town Bermuda, you have your brand or business, you have your personal life. They are not one and the same. And when we start to operate like they are one and the same, everything we do in our personal life is going to impact the way people view and see our business. We've got to do better. We've got to do better. Terry Kay says, I honestly don't think she understands the importance of her local supporters at Shana Smith, right? Terry Kay says, honestly, local businesses need to recognize that their local supporters will become their loyal customers and continue to promote for free. RH Furbit 7 says, I never threatened her. I actually apologized for the tweets being sent and any confusion it caused. There was an apology. Terry Kay says, the public apology needs to be as loud as the petty post to social. When the police come back and tell her the call is unfounded and they cannot act on it. Sean Smith goes on to say, I pray the business owner can learn this from the lesson and what not to do as someone providing a service or product. Well, this is it, Sean. My hope is that it's a learning lesson. Again, I'm not here to bash the business owner. I'm really not. I'm not here to bash the original poster. Obviously, nothing to bash her about. What I really want to happen from this conversation, folks, is a learning lesson. Myself included. Myself included. None of us escapes this. We have got to do better as a community, and we can do better if we just look at what the original poster was trying to do. The original poster literally was she was sharing something. She was sharing something, a concern she had for her well-being. And the original response was what we can do better. Lavon Brown says, whole thing was unnecessary and tacky. She lost a lot of customers yesterday who spend lots of money. Sam Cat Place says, well, I hope the business doesn't cry foul when the business suffers due to her comments. Humility needs to be performed on her behalf. I've been trying to purchase for so long. Maybe it's not meant to be. And Tamara Richardson says, so many people adopt a defensive tone online. I have learned that there is a message in each interaction. Some people need to spend less energy defending and be open to the lessons. Product research and development is a key component of improving. Even Johnson & Johnson could have avoided a $1 billion lawsuit had they listened to feedback. Lynette Warner says, yup, that pic was disgusting and unprofessional. I won't be helping to pay her mortgage 2 more. Von Brown says the police wasted their time and she is due a public apology. Folks, we have to wrap it up. If this is your first time tuning in, we thank you. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can make sure that you're a part of more community conversations like this, because our focus on the Daily Hour is to improve our community one conversation at a time. And I credit the original poster yesterday for honestly her tone the entire conversation. She never lost her cool, in my opinion. She didn't go where that conversation could have led. I give her a lot of credit. I really do. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our website to be thedailyhour.com. Make sure you subscribe for your chance to win the $500 giveaway. We'll be having another $500 giveaway immediately following the first one. I'll go through a few more comments before we sign out. Jenny Paradis says, signs back into Twitter after years of absent to see what's going on. Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, honestly, entrepreneurs need to be extremely careful how they carry themselves on social media. You must be careful. Focus on getting the bag. Shana Smith says, fast success seems to have created big ego. I hope she grows from this. Lynette Warner says, I annoyed the police, wasted their time on that. She definitely used her law degree and called in a favor because even police on Twitter were confused. Michelle White, she says the business owner and I had no reason to make that comment. We have each other in this climate. One day we are business owners, the next we are the client. Treat people how you want to be treated. Ralph Burroughs says, my grandma always said, if you can't hear, you must feel. And we'll wrap it up on that. Folks, again, thank you so much for doing. Do not go anywhere. Quick break, and we're going to come back. I'm going to do a giveaway today. I'm going to do a hashtag. I'm going to do a hashtag today. When we come back, and we're going to do the daily play. Stick with us, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Sorry, wrong one.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security, there's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
Alrighty, welcome back. Thanks again to One Communications, Linda's Medical House, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring we're able to do this with you daily. Don't forget, folks, to make sure you subscribe. We're going to do a giveaway, hashtag giveaway, so don't go anywhere. We're going to do the daily play. Here's your second letter for the day, right? We gave you one letter earlier. The second letter for the day is Y for yes. And make sure if you enjoyed today's conversation, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you give us a thumbs up, love, like if you enjoyed today's conversation, found it helpful for our community as well. But the second letter for today is Y for yes. All right. Time for the daily play, brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol. All right, folks. Quick question. What was the original date, the first episode? The guest was Dexter Smith. What was the date in 2020? What date did the Daily Hour first air? The date. It was in 2020. The date. Give me the date. Give me the date. Whoever gets it, they're getting a Daily Hour mug. They're getting a Daily Hour mug. Who's got it? Give me the date. What was the date of the very first Daily Hour episode? And while we wait on that, you all are soft this morning. You just don't have it. Look at that. I love stumping you all. I'll be honest with you. I love stumping you all. Oh, wow. Rosalind Famous gets herself a mug. Rosalind Famous, you are the winner. It was May 4th, 2020. That was the first episode, and the guest was Dexter Smith. Folks, here's your hashtag this morning. It's going to be the Daily Hour. So you can just type the Daily Hour in. That is going to be your hashtag for this morning for your chance to win. So Rosalind Famous, you are the winner of a Daily Hour mug. So we're going to do a hashtag the Daily Hour. That's going to be your hashtag for today. All right. That's going to be the hashtag. And while we're letting the hashtags come in, honestly, I just can't thank people enough. You know, I said something yesterday as I spoke at my mom's service, and I spoke about how without my mother, there would be no Daily Hour. And I remember one time she picked me up when I came to Bermuda, and we were in the car listening to the radio, and she says, "Jamel, you don't miss this?" And I said, "No." And I explained, I said, it's a lot of the mental aspect of it. Like, when I was doing talk radio back then, you took on so much, it was so much. And I felt like she asked that question because she really wanted me to get back into it. She wanted me to do that. And when we started the Daily Hour, when pretty much a year prior, when she lit that match under my behind and said, "Look, you've made all millions for others, time to go do it for yourself. I think it was a proud moment where she felt that the plants that she had seeded and watered were starting to bear fruit. So again, I'm happy and at peace that she was able to see the fruits of her labor grow. And I can't thank you all enough. And trust me, folks, I will respond to everyone. I had to actually show proof on my WhatsApp status. I just felt the need to show you that, yes, I did have 200 texts and over 200 WhatsApps messages. And that's the love that I appreciate. And I will individually respond to everyone. Just give me a chance, and I will, because I appreciate that you took the time to do that. The amount of people that came out that I didn't get to greet yesterday, thank you. My mother would have appreciated it, so I can't thank you enough. And so the Daily Hour hashtag, let's bring you in, guys. Let's bring you in. Let's see who's going to be the winner of today's prize. So we've got one mug we're giving away already. Let's see who gets the second mug. That'll be something if it's the same person, huh? That would be something if the same person wins. Let's check it out. Let's bring it in. Let's see how many we got. 31 so far. Let's hit that draw, folks. Let's see who's going to do it. Big money, big money, big money. Who's got it? Who's got it? Who's got it? Big money, big money, big money, big money, big money. Marcia Bradshaw, you are today's winner. All right. Congratulations to you, Marcia. Folks, again, thank you so much. Sherry should be back next week. Look, if you can do me one favor, as part of the daily inspiration today, do something that is going to make a difference, not just for you and your family, but your community and your country. It doesn't have to be loud, and it doesn't have to be big or expensive. But when you depart your life, ensure that your contribution lives long after all of us are gone. That's something that my mother did. On that note, thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you next Monday. I'm Jamal Hartman. My friends, make it a safe and great weekend. I'm out. Peace.